Hey, what's up?
Hi.
So, um, so can you give us a little bit of background on what the article is about? Is it about foreign monsters or a bunch of things, or?
Recent work with Scout and YouTube and the sort of self-distribution angle of your story, and also talking about. Are you guys familiar with MovieMaker at all?
Yeah. We've had some copies lying around before of that.
Yes.
Yeah, so we sort of want to talk about it in a way to sort of see how other indie filmmakers could maybe, look at what you guys have done and apply it to their own work. So that's sort of the angle we're going for. So I guess, the first thing I wanted to ask you guys is, when you first were accepted to Slamdance, were you expecting to be picked up by a distributor, or were you always looking, at self-distribution?
We were definitely hoping to get picked up by a distributor. I mean, we didn't really know anything about the film industry, and like as soon as we got into Slamdance, we started like looking at sites and stuff that were, kind of talking about, making a movie deal in the lobby, and that sounded like really good to us.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely had this sort of Cinderella, like we were hoping that Prince Charming was going to put a glass slipper on our foot.
But looking back, it's such a ridiculous concept, like to think that we actually believed what we heard, which is like that. Okay, so this is how it works. You go there, you premiere your film, and then kind of everyone's kind of chatting around after the film and kind of talking to each other, and at some point during that process, a company says, well, I'm gonna share this movie with the world. I'm gonna take this on and carry the torch for you. Good job, guys. Pat you on the backs, and you go to the party. It's totally not what happens.
Yeah, and it's like even at Sundance, that's like the few places that happens, and it's only a handful of stuff for screen there. So was that something you started thinking about while you were there, or did it take a while to kind of come to that conclusion?
It took a couple more film festivals for us to realize like what was going on, really. Because like again, we got sold the line of, well, you go to a few more festivals, you prove that you have an audience because you keep getting into festivals and you keep doing really well, like, and people keep watching your film and saying good things about it, and then eventually you can get a distribution deal. So again, for a long time we were definitely trying to get a distribution deal. Like we tried getting people to represent us. We met with a lot of different distributors. We came up with like all kinds of strategies. Like even before we made the video podcast, we had pitched to a few different distribution companies the idea that we could market our own film with a web series that would be just as compelling as the film itself, but would also make people like interested in seeing the film. And
right.
We were willing to do this like just because we wanted to see our film do well. And it was before like there was it was before the video iPod had come out, and
MySpace wasn't doing any film stuff.
Yeah, MySpace hadn't started doing any film stuff. YouTube was like not a big thing really.
It didn't exist.
It didn't even exist. And so people were really kind of just like, what? Like they weren't compelled by the idea of these web videos. And
right.
it was like kind of, once we had the web video idea though, we were like, you know what? We should just do it anyways. Like I really think this is a good idea. Like we should just do it. And then as we started to do those videos and we started to like amass an audience, we started to realize that we wouldn't really need a distributor.
How much of a role did the podcast play in sort of you guys ending up with this deal with spouting YouTube and going that route?
Oh yeah. Well, what did the...
It pretty much has everything to do with it, because honestly, the video podcast is how we've built audience, and the only reason people are interested in working with us in any way, like YouTube showing our film or MySpace or anybody wanting to talk to us at all, is because we have an audience. And so it's pretty much the video podcast is responsible for anything that's made our film do anything. It's the only reason people are interested in us. I mean, people like the film, don't get me wrong, but our film would be where it was without the video podcast, which is like sort of languishing on the film festival circuit with having like
languishing,
like no one having heard about it.
I mean, it is really crazy. Without the internet stuff, like we wouldn't have been nominated for a couple Spirit Awards, because we wouldn't have had the theatrical opportunity that made us qualify for the Spirit Awards. And it's really just like if we hadn't built like a grassroots audience for the film, yeah, it would be on our hard drive, and maybe we could be selling a few copies off of our like maybe 10 copies off our website to our friends or something.
Why do you think that the grassroots works so well for Red Monsters? Is it, you know, the particular side of the film, or do you think it's kind of your perseverance with all of this?
Well, I think that grassroots can work for anything. I mean, politics have been using it forever. Bands have been using it a crap load as well, and it's starting to get, you know, more and more common with films like Robert Greenwald, and especially political documentaries. It's amazing for that kind of thing. Media is like kind of starting to affect our lives, and we're starting to have like tons of options. Like, do I say this in a text message? Do I write an email? Maybe I make a video for the person, and so that kind of like personally made media thing is sort of the texture that the internet is sort of caked in. You know, whether you're on MySpace looking at everyone's photos that they've posted of themselves, or their blogs, or things going on in their inner, you know, thoughts and dialogue about life, or whether you're looking at people's, you know, YouTube daily journals or whatever, it all has this kind of like self-expression, kind of like, this is what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to communicate this. Right. So Foreign Monsters is kind of like about that. You know, and it takes our own story, and it's a specific story, but just the fact that it's autobiographical, it makes the whole thing like a blog post on steroids in certain ways. It's like, and then this thing happened, and then that thing happened, and here's like media to show you kind of like what it was like and whatever. So so I think that's why sort of the kind of interactive approach kind of works, because you're clicking around on different things, you're drilling down. You know, you can see the film, and then right now, and then you can also drill down and be like, okay, well, what was it like making the film? Okay, well, who are these people? Let's look at their MySpace profiles. Okay, well, what's going on in their lives right now? Let's look at their Flickr pages. Okay, well, what did they do 5 minutes ago? Let's look at their Twitter page. So it's kind of like it's just, you know, people expressing themselves with digital media. That's what the film is, and that's what the kind of online new media space is. So our film and that space like work really well together.
Did you guys approach them about this deal, or was it something that they approached you?
Well, originally, like, Google had approached us about putting up our film like for free on Google and doing like an AdSense kind of shared revenue thing. And at the time, we knew we did want to put our film up online at some point, but we just weren't ready to at that point because the DVD wasn't available, and like, you know, that kind of thing. And so when we got to the point where we were ready to put it up, we contacted our contact at Google, and he said he was now at YouTube. And, you know, he said, yeah, we really want to put it up, but we could feature it, blah, blah, blah. And we were super excited about that. We thought that was like a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I know, that was really intense to think like, wow, after all this effort, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of people might actually see the film. Like, that's crazy, because we've been dealing with dozens. Oh, we packed a few dozen people into a theater to see the film. Congratulations! What an awesome, you know, accomplishment. So that's when we're really like, wow, we're really at an opportunity here for this thing to actually get seen.
And the Spout people, we actually had met them on the film festival circuit, and they had like talked to us about, you know, their ideas for the site. It was like before they had the site up, and you know, we've been talking to them for like the past like 2 years. And so, you know, or like the YouTube people were like, oh, who do you want to get to put the banner ads up? So we kind of thought of Spout like instantly and contacted them, and also discussed the idea of them sponsoring the film being up there somehow. And they came up with like the $1 per user, which was kind of like a mind-blowing offer.
I know. They said it and we're like, okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And then we started thinking like, wait a minute. $1 for everyone that joins.
Up to 100,000.
And then we got an email from them that says, yeah, we could probably honor that up through, you know, let's say $100,000. We're like, holy crap, that's the amount of debt that we're in. And so then we started reshifting the whole way we were going to post the film to like, okay, we have to plug this really solid like in the intro. And, you know, we came up with the idea like asking people to pause the film to let it load, and then telling them, go sign up right now, you know. And about 5% of the views translate into signups.
You guys have something like $35,000 right now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it more
Yeah.
than that now, or?
Yeah, it's a little over 35,000. You know, the goal in the next I don't know. Well,
Month?
by the time you guys publish this, we might be post August 15th. But the goal is by August 15th to get up to 100,000. So we're going to be posting the film on some other websites to try and encourage that to happen.
And is this something, I mean, obviously you don't want to, I don't know, you know, one of the trials of being a filmmaker, you know, having all this debt, but is it kind of a model you in the future or try to use in the future for your project?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're talking about...
Well,
you know,
not necessarily the spout
Well,
thing specifically, but the idea of sponsorship, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I would want to have our next film be available on the internet, like
Yeah.
way earlier in the game, if not immediately.
Right.
And have something kind of set up, which is part of why we're trying to reach this goal, is to really, you know, kind of. I think it's a shocker, really, that the film industry has evolved to the point where you can make the budget back of a film showing it for free. That's amazing, you know, like, so, you know, I don't know if our next, how much our next film will cost, or, you know, yet we're still very early in the process, but if showing it for free can be part of its release strategy, absolutely, you know. And so, yeah, I think uploading films to YouTube or any site that allows you to do that, especially if you can create some kind of a sponsorship thing to compensate for the fact that you're giving it away for free, I think that's just totally what people want right now. It's like really awesome, like long, you know, content with depth. People have had enough of the online video. The online short videos are going to continue to do well. Comedy, you know, sexy things, whatever. That's going to continue to be strong. But people are we were really surprised that people are actually interested in watching something that long, and are interested in things that have more depth. And really, if you think about it, that's actually where the internet should shine. Not on the television sort of short attention span, like, oh, we've only got very limited time here. You know, on the internet, people could spend endless hours with a topic that they're interested in, or a story that they're interested in, and especially when you think of the interactive aspect of things, where you can see some things and then watch more things and kind of follow what, you know, a person's interested in. It's sort of like that's the real environment to be creating in our mind.
Right. And I guess my one final question would be, is there anything you would change about the way you went through, I guess, both the filmmaking and the financing and distribution process, now that you're sort of at the end of it in some ways?
I mean, we would change everything.
I guess
if moving forward, because time changes, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we maybe wish that we'd arrived at certain conclusions faster. But being that that's sort of impossible, I mean, definitely the next time around, it would be a completely different ball of wax.
Well, here's one important thing
As they say.
I think that could apply to other filmmakers is, I think the film should be absolutely, completely done, finished, mastered, color corrected, output to HD, whatever, before you submit to film festivals, because that's something that got us into major strategical errors, because we were just, you know, making the film. We're like, well, you know, hey, this is just our little movie that we're making. Like, let's see if we can show it in a festival. And then, you know, they said yes, and we're like, whoa, they said yes? I mean, I don't even know if we're really ready for them to say yes. We have more things to do to it. And so we scrambled to get it into somewhat of a showable state. And then that's our world premiere that the industry, you know, considers that you've lost your virginity. They throw you to the side and say, screw you, I don't ever want to see you again at any other festivals. We're distributors. We only need films that are having their world premiere. And so then you can't get into bigger festivals. It's just a big mess. I mean, if you think about Four-Eyed Monsters, we really could have just skipped the whole damn thing of going to festivals. Instead, started making video podcasts, built the audience, and maybe come out with the film in, you know, the past few months, as we have anyways.
Well, also the other thing is when we started the video podcast, we didn't have the film available for people to get because, like Arin said, we didn't totally have it finished for the film festival circuit. We were always tweaking it, making changes, and it was only really in the past like few months that we've actually have a finished DVD that we are like, okay, this is what is okay to ship out to people. This is okay as like the permanent.
Right. The film's audio wasn't even finished mastering until just a few months ago. So, you know, because I mean, there's budgetary problems that slow things down, and there was creative issues. I mean, one thing I'm glad we did is we showed the film to people, and we had screenings and stuff. But moving forward, I would say it'd be better to have like a community around a film. Yeah, have screenings, and invite the community that's sort of been tracking the film online and been being a part of its creation, and show it to people and tweak your film accordingly, because I do think that is important. It's important to know how the film's being perceived, but then get it completely finished and ready to release, and then go to festivals. That's sort of how I see, like, festivals
really,
as a way to find distribution.
We'll really use the festivals as a way to launch your publicity.
Yeah, exactly. When you really have everything lined up and done and ready. Because, yeah, I mean, that's just been the problem with Four-Eyed Monsters for us constantly, is we're just trying to juggle, like, everything all at once, like, and then, and
trying to finish cutting the movie while we're self-distributing it, while we're making episodes for the video
to market
podcast.
It,
that's been like kind of the thing, is never really having any phase of the project totally complete, and therefore not being able to focus on a particular phase the way that it needs to be.
Right. Which I guess is kind of, again, inherent in the kind of, new media self-expression kind of thing, because, yeah, I mean, you're constantly posting things and making things and all that. And there is a certain value to being in all phases all the time, but I would just say that would be the main thing, is the festival thing, like, because I mean I do still think that in 2007 and possibly even still in 2008 and maybe even 2009 there's still this tremendous ability for traditional releases that basically make a film available in the way an audience is used to getting a film, going to the store and seeing it on a shelf, going to their Netflix queue and seeing that it's there as a possibility, looking on Amazon, seeing that you can get these things. And the ironic thing is that Four-Eyed Monsters is not available in these ways, because we've taken such a new media approach of all these alternatives. A lot of the on the internet they refer to it as like user habits, like what are people willing to do. People are creatures of habit. They may or may not be willing to buy DVDs off a website. They may or may not be willing to sit there in front of YouTube. I mean, we've been impressed with what we've found, but essentially the best scenario would be to line yourself up to be able to get the best of both worlds by exploring new media stuff as a way to get the film discovered, as we've seen YouTube is completely capable of. Like, so if you could avoid sort of putting an X on your belly by, like, having gone to film festivals, that would be good. And this doesn't make any sense. I don't even know why this is people's perceptions, and that's why I'm saying, like, this will change. I'm just saying today, right now, that seems to still be the case, is that you still need ideally to get the film out in every way possible in addition to the internet. So it's good to do things in such a way that you can do them all.
Okay, and so I guess that's pretty much all I needed to know. Is there anything I haven't talked about that you guys would want to add, like what you're working on right now, things like that?
Not too much. I mean, you've caught us at an interesting time, because we don't really know what's happening. Like, the film's probably going to be on TV, but we don't know what channel. We're probably going to release it in some kind of a retail environment like I'm talking about, but we don't really know through who.
Well, thank you guys for talking to me. The article is going to come out in the fall issue, which is, I believe, late September. And I'll have Laura give you guys your, either I'll send a copy directly to her, but you guys will get a copy of the article when it comes out.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
No problem. So have a nice day, and I will get back in touch if I have any other questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you. It's good talking to you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.